There are certain episodes that come out and remind us why we love PreCure so much. And I feel like this one was one of them. Hello everyone, it's Lel, and my heart is into pieces after watching episode 22 from Hirogaru's PreCure. What a powerful episode this was. I am still in shock with everything I've seen. Look, PreCure is something I love dearly. It's one of the things that are closest to my heart, and I love it. And I feel like after watching this, I remember why I love PreCure so much. It's able to evoke so many feelings on us. And I've been loving Hirogaru Sky so far. I've been loving it. But this one just took it to another level. I'm shaking. I just watched it. I'm shaking. How am I going to get through this week? Waiting for the next one. I have no idea. I'm clinging tightly to Ageha. Ageha, please help me. Anyways, let's talk about it. I feel like this episode did something very nice, which is it raised our hopes very high. It raised Sora's hope very high, just to make it tumble down with the utmost speed. Let's talk about it. First of all, the episode opened with Elle and Tsubasa playing. It was very sweet. Elle doing the attacks, butterfly press, wing attack. It was so cute. But the girls were there talking to the Skyland guards, and they were telling about Elle's parents. They haven't woken up yet. They're still worried about them. But the one most important thing is obviously Shalala. People have been seeing her. And it's interesting. I really like that scene because when Betty is talking about Shalala, Sora gets her hopes up very fast. And she's like, oh my god, Shalala. She gets very happy. But then the other two pull her to reality. First off, we have Ageha saying, but people see her and then she disappears. She's not a ghost. She's not a spirit. What's going on? And Mashiro says, look, please, what you told us is already valuable information, but it's not enough to prove she's there. So keep on looking out. If you notice anything, please tell us. So, those two being a little out of this emotional ride, because Sora obviously has lots of emotions towards Shalala, because Shalala is her biggest inspiration. And not only her inspiration, she became someone close to her after episodes 14, 15. So Sora was clouded in judgment at that scene, while the other two were able to look at it more objectively. And I really like that. And then we see another thing that's also very interesting. When Mashiro and Sora were talking, Sora says that Sora shows her the letter. Never falter, hero girl. This is going to be very important. Never falter, hero girl. This is what Shalala gave Sora before sacrificing herself in episode 15. And, Sora only found it after she sacrificed herself, but still. Mashiro points out that Sora writes everything down in her hero notebook. And the hero notebook is something that Sora writes things down, and she wants to live by all the philosophies that she puts in her book. That is the purpose and the point of her book. But the thing is, she never wrote what Shalala told her. She was never able to do so. She never had the power to do so. Probably because until then, at that moment in the episode, she still didn't feel worthy of that title of Hero Girl by Shalala. But after talking to Mashiro, she felt like she could write it down because she won't falter. Her determination will not be shaken. And that's what she does. She finally puts it down in her notebook. Never falter, hero girl. And then we see the girls going out, and obviously Tsubasa too. And Tsubasa says gyoza is delicious. Tsubasa, I agree with you. Gyoza is indeed delicious. It's very nice. Their interaction there was very cool. But Sora sees Shalala's illusion and she runs after her. This scene, like from this point onwards, it was emotions overflow, overflow, overflow. At that moment, I feel like the tone of the episode shifted like drastically, and it was done in such a great way. Silence, heartbeat, 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 dramatic soundtrack, dramatic soundtrack. The soundtrack was super, super on point. That song that played when Sora was running towards Shalala and running and running, she could never find her, she could never find her, but she was running because she would see her. Where is she? Please stop, Shalala, I want to meet you. And then, like everything, the construction of that scene was really, really, really good. And when Sora gets to her, she ends up attacking Sora and slashing her. But obviously, the attack did not work. It was just an illusion. And Sora finally meets the one responsible for it, which is Batamonda. The name of the episode is Batamonda's Last Resort, Batamonda's Last Plan. And this is Batamonda's plan. Batamonda was creating Shalala illusions. So that's what we saw. That's what the people from Skyland saw. Illusions from Shalala. And he used those illusions to make Curioskai come to him. And then he summoned a Landborg. Sora transformed into Curioskai and the fight started. Sora talked to Batamonda and she asked him, why do you hold a grudge against me? What's wrong with you? And he told her that what happened in episode 15 and the shame that she put him through by frightening him like that was the one thing that made him hate Curioskai the most. And there is one thing I love about Batamonda. Batamonda is a true villain in the sense of the word. He was like, I was such a good person with such a good heart before I met you and you ruined my heart. You are the one to blame for me to be like this. Girl, that is so wrong, but that's so good for a villain to say. Like putting the responsibility in the hero, that is so good. Oh my god, Batamonda proved to be a great villain. What a great roster of a small but great roster of villains we're having in Hirogaru Sky. I love it. And I feel like there's a big shift from Kabaton to Batamonda. Kabaton was not a real villain in the sense of the word. He was a great villain, obviously, but he didn't have like evil in his heart, while Batamonda, on the other hand, is truly evil. He is bad. He's awful. And this episode just proved it. And so the fight starts. Sora was having a little bit of a hard time, but at the end of the day, she was able to manage herself against that Landborg. And it was very nice that she was thinking like, okay, the Landborg has a sword, but if I am able to get closer, my fists are faster than the sword. That's a very Curioskai thing to do because Curioskai uses her punches a lot. And that's what she did. She was able to, hit the Landborg in a powerful way. But then Batamonda had other plans. And when he made the Landborg wear the cape with the under energy, Sora got instantly reminded of Shalala. And from that point on, everything changed. I was like, when I saw the Landborg, I was like, okay, this is very similar to Shalala. He's probably doing it to tease Curioskai, but she did not notice that it was Shalala. Like, she did not notice that the Landborg was resembling Shalala. Only when the cape appeared that she actually noticed. And then he told her that it was not only resembling Shalala. That was not a regular Landborg. That was actually a Shalalaborg. Because that Landborg was actually Shalala. And we could see Shalala inside the Landborg. What a powerful scene that was. To me, at least, the viewer. Like, I was scared seeing Shalala inside that Landborg. Girl, I was like, no way. No way. And it was shocking to me. Imagine to Sora, the one who has the biggest connection, the biggest admiring towards that figure, to know that she was fighting directly against her hero, her biggest inspiration. And at that point on, she could not fight anymore. She was hit and she almost lost. But the other girls and Cure Wing, obviously, arrived in time. Cure Prism used her beams, and the other cures also helped. Wing was fast with capturing Cure Sky, and Butterfly finally used her green power to heal Sora. I loved seeing a little bit of green. It was great. And Sora was healed. And the girls were ready to keep on fighting the Landborg, but Sora told them to stop because that Landborg was Shalala. And I do understand the girls wanting to stop and the girls wanting to not engage in that battle anymore. I mean, I totally understand Sora's reactions, but the other girls, I do understand, and I also do understand the reactions from Wing and Butterfly, because Wing and Butterfly were ready to keep on fighting. But not only fighting, they were ready to purify her, because they've learned in those episodes that Titanic Rainbow is used to purify the Landborg energy. Obviously, it's the same with Updraft Shining, because when they use those attacks, the Under energy is purified and it gets inside the mirror pad and it's part of the Kita Kita potion. Did they name it before or did they name it in this episode? It's called the Kita Kita potion. And so they know that they would be able to purify Shalala. And when, it was very interesting because when Butterfly and Wing started doing the Titanic Rainbow attack, Batamonda didn't do anything. He just watched. And at the same time, we could see something very interesting. I feel like one of the things that this episode made it clear in the first part was that Sora is finally able to accept her role as a hero. More than fighting to be a hero is that I am a hero now. So I can embrace the message that Shalala gave me. It's not that Sora is engaging and learning to be a hero, is that she's accepting this role. It's a different thing. And I feel like she accepted this role in this episode, in the first part of this episode. That is why she was finally able to write down the message Shalala gave her. But at that point, she was so broken, she had no idea what to do. She was on her knees, in the ground. Mashiro was in front of her as Cure Prism. She looked at her and said, "Help me, Mashiro." And she was crying. And she didn't even call her Cure Prism. It was not Cure Prism. It was Mashiro. And Mashiro at that time couldn't do anything apart from getting on her knees as well to be in the same level as Cure Sky or as Sora at that moment and embrace her in her arms. In a pure embrace of friendship, of compassion, of understanding. Because that's what that was. And it was amazing. And so there's this duo, Sky and Prism. While the other duo, Wing and Butterfly, were creating a little technique to be able to purify the Landborg and by consequence Captain Shalala while they were using Titanic Rainbow, because that's the purpose of Titanic Rainbow. They were performing this attack until L made them stop. There was something wrong with what they were doing, and they didn't notice this before. And after we knew what was wrong, I was like, why did Batamonda tell them this? If they defeated Shalala and killed her, it would be way more traumatic for them. But there was a reason for that, and I like that they acknowledged that he could have done one thing and he didn't do it. And which is different because last season it happened with Narcisoru and it made no sense at the end of the day. But with this time with Batamonda, I feel like it makes way more sense. And so they stopped performing the attack, and Batamonda told them what actually happened. After episode 15, after the battle of episode 15, he was leaving Skyland and he found Captain Shalala laying on the ground in the forest. She was almost dead, and he used the Underg energy on her. So the Underg energy on Captain Shalala would keep her alive and would not heal her wounds, but it would make her stop bleeding and her wounds stop hurting. So that would keep her alive if she had the Underg energy in her. Because without the Underg energy, she wouldn't be alive anymore, because that's what's keeping her body from stop functioning, because she would be dead after that battle. And it's a very interesting way of looking into this, because he could have left her for dead, but he used her for revenge on the one person that humiliated him the most, which was Sora, or Cure Sky, in episode 15. And he was ready for this. And as he said, he could have simply just let them kill Shalala. But he wanted to play with them. He wanted to let them know, because that would hurt. What will they do now? Will they let themselves be killed by Captain Shalala? Or will they kill Captain Shalala knowing they would kill her to survive? What will they do? What can they do from now on? And look, I love that I got the theory right, because I theorized that Batamonda got Shalala, infused her with Underg energy, and we would use her as a villain. I love it. I barely get PreCure theories right, so I'm gonna give myself this one. But it was really interesting how manipulative he became and how evil this plan is, how fucked up this plan is. Cure Sky, so far in the show, could stand up and fight against anything that happened to her and to happen to people around her. This time around, she had no energy to do anything. She couldn't do anything. She was laying on the ground. She couldn't even stand up. There was absolutely nothing she could do. Absolutely nothing. One of the things that I feel like this episode really did right was the despair. It was complete, utter despair. From all sides. And when Wing and Butterfly went after Batamonda to hit him, to make him stop and maybe fight against him, he simply left. And when the Lenborg left, I got even more desperate, because I understood that episode would end right there and we would not see a conclusion to this plot. Oh my God. If I wasn't heartbroken enough already, the end of the episode finishing me, if that even makes sense. So we see the girls de-transformed. All of them are standing up in front of Sora, who's in her knees. Even as Sora, she can't stand up anymore. She's lost. She has no idea what she's going to do. She doesn't know what she can do. And at that point, she's given up because she cannot do anything to save Shalala. There is absolutely nothing. And I like the motivation of the girls. Mashiro saying, we have to keep trying. And Ageha saying, look, we can defeat her with Titanic Rainbow. And then after, I will use the healing power in the palette, in her. Everything will be fine. But Sora is in despair. And when we are in despair, we're able to look at the worst possibilities and see things in such a bad light. But again, the bad sides of things also exist. So Sora acknowledged them and said, what if it doesn't work? What if we kill Captain Shalala in the process? What if something happens to her? What will we do? Can we do something? And then Tsubasa, this was the most powerful part for me. Tsubasa said to her, Sora, you are a hero, stand up. And she was like, shut up, stop with the hero thing. It's enough. She completely lost her motivation to be a hero. This is where everything began. For her, it all began when she was a young child and was saved by Captain Shalala. When she saw the cape in front of her. And now she sees the cape in front of her again in the form of a monster. And if she fights this monster, she kills the hero that inspired her to become a hero and saved her lots and lots of times. I mean, she saved her directly once, but she gave her a purpose in life. And everything Sora's done in her life after that day was because of this woman, was because of this hero. And now, this is lost. She can't fight anymore. If she does fight, what if she ends up killing Captain Shalala, who is the most beloved person to her? What if? Can she stand up? Can she fight? I totally understand Sora not being able to do so. But this has a big, huge consequence. Her Mirage pen disappears. Her sky tone gets useless. It turns into stone. It gets colorless. She can't become Curious Sky anymore. The motivation she had to be a hero is now gone. She is not a hero anymore. She is not PreCure anymore. And that's where this episode left us. How are we going to survive 1 week to see the next episode? How are we going to do that? Please tell me. Please tell me. Other things to mention about this episode, we have a new eye catch, which is super cute. I love the girls in pajamas portraying their cure forms in the transformations. I love it. It's so adorable. And we also have a new ending. I have a reaction here on the channel, but honestly, this new ending is the shit. I love this new ending. It's perfect. But let me tell you one thing. After I watched this episode and the ending started playing, I couldn't pay attention to the ending. I was too shocked. I was too stunned. Thankfully, I watched the ending before watching the episode. I reacted to it. I had my own time with the ending because this episode would not let me vibe with it. This episode. Oh my God. This is too hard for me. Anyways, now it's time for my hero corner, my favorite moment of this episode. Hero corner from episode 22 from Hirogaru Sky PreCure to me was when Sora as Curious Sky was on her knees, looked up and told Mashiro, "Help me, Mashiro." And Mashiro got on her knees and hugged her. I love this scene. It represents so much. Was there more that Mashiro could have done apart from giving her a hug at that moment? In the middle of a battle? No. That was the only thing she could do. Anyways, please share your hero corners and your opinions on episode 22 in the comment box below. Anyways, babies, want to take this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. Please leave a comment. Let's keep talking about this episode next week. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be intense. But Sora will get her powers back. She will get her motivations back. I just want to know how. What will be the trigger for everything? I am so curious and so anxious. This week is gonna be long. Anyways, babies, this is it for now. Thank you so much for watching and until next time. Bye-bye.